Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I am Reverend Tucker. I am the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God lets me manage that I always like to introduce because they're so awesome. First of all, here is Faith. Faith has been my assistant since the day she was born. She used to sit on the podium with me and do announcements, and now she's almost 18 and my official assistant. Yes, I know. You're counting the days down, aren't you, darling?
Pretty close, yeah.
January 21st. Here we go. Woohoo!
Yep.
She's also our soloist, and so we'll be seeing more of her later. Thank you so much for being here, Faith, and for all your support. We appreciate you. And then there is my partner in crime, my first baby practitioner. He took all of his training with me, then was my board president, and then moved off to Florida, and I lost him. But now he's in Wisconsin, and we have him back because of this technology. So I'm so glad he's here. He will be our person who prays in and prays out, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. So thank you, Oz, for being here. I so appreciate you. All right. Today's topic is visioning. We do visioning every quarter, and so we're going to do the visioning for this quarter. For those of you who have never been doing visioning with us before, you're going to love it. It is a wonderful process of being receptive to God's vision for our life. And we'll be doing that here shortly. I also want to introduce the music because we have two wonderful New Thought artists that support us, that provide us with karaoke music so that Faith can sing, but also we use their music in the service, and that is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We Are All One is her song, and Karen Drucker, who I am so blessed at the very end, that is her song, and they've gifted us with their music, so we really appreciate them. If you're here, please say hi, good morning, hello, however you'd like to greet us. In a facility, I'd be able to look out and see who's here, but I don't have that option here with this software. So I really appreciate you checking in and just letting us know who's here. If you'd like to do a watch party, there is a watch party button. It's a great way for your friends to see what kind of talks they could have if they tuned in. But it also offers you an opportunity to talk back and forth without bothering anybody. So take advantage of that. It's, like I said, a great way for them to see what we do here on Sunday mornings. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
At this moment, right now, I allow the cares and concerns of the last week and the coming week to just fade into the background. Because further, beneath that background is the presence of God in all things as all things, in my mind, in your mind, around us, upholding us, living us, breathing us. This one perfect animating force that underlies all existence, indwells all existence, immanent and transcendent, above and beyond, and also within. It is always present, and it is here right now, in us, as us, creating greater vision for our lives than we can possibly perceive ourselves. And I allow that vision to rise up in me and in each of you as we move into the week that comes with the vision of God upholding and delivering all around us. I know this is good and very good, and I let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. This next song is by Reverend Ferry Elaine Silver. Like I said, we are all one. It is our philosophy, so it's perfect for our service. And also, if you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't bother anybody, and it's a great way to just get your whole being in the feeling of what we teach.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
So if you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see who's here, but I don't have the ability with this software. And it makes me feel good knowing that we have an audience and who's here. So please do say hi, hello, or good morning. Also, if you like something that you hear, either something I've said or something that Faith sings or the prayer that Oz does, use that thumbs up button. If you love something, if something really, is powerful for you, use the little heart button, because we love to get love. And if something I say strikes you as really significant, then by all means use the wow button. I appreciate any feedback that you give me that way, because then I know if I'm on target or not. All right, so without further ado, we are actually doing a song from the Agape Choir, and that would be Faith. So here you go.
Use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to be, God is the sun, God is the sun, but God so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creation, all moving the night. Jesus to shine His light as me, as you so use me. Oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. All that I is to command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's not for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things around, and God needs us to shine His light as me, as you so use me. Oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. God needs us to shine His light, and needs us to shine His light. God needs us to shine His light as me, as you so use me. Oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Thank you, Faith. That was beautiful.
Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So we always like to sing that song, and there's another one when we do visioning because, well, for one thing, Agape is responsible for the visioning process in our philosophy. Dr. Michael Beckwith is the one who came up with the sort of the philosophy behind visioning for our organization. And it's based on 4 steps of spiritual evolution. Let's put it that way. So the first step, obviously, is to us. And almost all of us were raised with that idea that God does something to us, that the devil does something to us, that the world does something to us, that others do things to us. Sort of that's how we are raised. And that is usually our first experience of religion. And then, so the first stage is to us. And it's kind of a victim stage, not in a judgmental kind of way, like, oh, you are such a victim. It's almost like a necessary step for us to get to the next step, so we can see how different it is in our teaching. The second step of that spiritual evolution is to it. And we've just been going through the basics of our philosophy, back to basics, the whole last 4 weeks. And basically, during that time, we're discussing how we understand that you do something to it, meaning God. Now, it's not like you have power over God, so to speak. It's not like you're doing something to God, but we sort of are doing it to the spiritual laws. We are opening ourselves so that the spiritual laws allow us to have the life that we wish. Okay. The perfect life, so to speak. Perfect life for you and perfect life for me. And one person's perfect life is not the same as other people's lives. But we start recognizing that we have the ability to manipulate, so to speak, spiritual law. And that's not a bad thing. So this is the manipulation stage. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's really important for us to learn that there are spiritual laws in the universe and we can use them. And of course, Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, there is a law for good and there's a good in the universe and we can use it. But the truth is we do use it consciously or unconsciously. We do use it. So I think I would like to amend it to say that there is a law for good in the universe and we can use it consciously. And that's the to-it stage, when we learn that we can use those spiritual laws consciously to affect our world, knowing that what's on the inside is what outpictures on the outside through the process. Last week, I think it was, we talked about how we use it, and we used the teaching symbol. And again, we have that unbroken unity, that circle, the unbroken unity. And even though you can't part out God, we've had to, for illustrative purposes, separate it out into 3 parts so we can explain it better. But there's the conscious mind at the top, the subjective mind in the middle, and the form at the bottom. And so what happens when we're using it consciously is that there is a conscious idea in that top part that moves through that middle portion there, which is kind of like a computer storage device in a lot of ways, because everything that we've ever experienced and all of our reactions to it are housed in that middle section. And then going through from conscious mind through that subjective mind, typically it would go into form if there's not something in the subjective mind to bounce it back. So the reason I go through this again is to understand that what we're doing is that V here. We are causing creation. And then when our creation is no longer something that we need or something we want, it goes back into the nothingness from which it came. So I just wanted to kind of give us that. So again, we have to us, where we believe everything is done to us. Then we understand that we can do something to it. And that's the manipulation stage. They're both very important stages. I can remember in one of my classes, somebody said, I said, okay, let's practice. Next time you need a parking spot, I want you to do a treatment, a spiritual mind treatment, which is a treatment of our mind, for a parking space. And one person looked at me and said, that's just not a very a use of God's power that's in integrity. And I said, I don't think God minds. I think that practice makes perfect, and whatever we can do to train our minds to receive that impress of God's perfect thought is a good thing. So I had everybody treating for the perfect parking space, treating for other things, not because trivial things are what we're about, but because it trains our mind. And once we get in the practice of doing that, then our mind opens up to being able to receive other miracles, so to speak, in our lives. Okay, so to us, to it, and then the next stage is through us. And what we have to understand is God can't do anything for us that it can't do through us. So if, for example, I'm not open to being a channel through which God's love comes, there's not going to be someone in my life that I can love. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not that God reaches in and finds the perfect mate and throws them my way. It's that I'm open to receiving that perfect mate, and I draw them to me because God's love emanates through me. So that's the through us stage. And then the final stage of spiritual evolution is as us. When we finally understand that what we're made of is God, that that God operates through us as us. When we understand that, there's nothing that we can't do, because we're no longer thinking about parking spaces. We're no longer thinking about attracting a mate. We're no longer thinking about anything like that. We are acting as God on earth. Now, I'm not saying we're all of God. Please understand. But I do believe that there is a God presence that moves through us like watermarks on a page. We give form as the watermark, but it doesn't impede the page from running through us. And so when we act, we are acting as God, and God is acting as us. You see what I'm saying? It's that place within us that there's no separation. There is no place where we leave off and God begins, and there's no place where God leaves off and we begin. It's just all one. And that is God acting as us. So those are the 4 stages of spiritual evolution as taught by Dr. Michael Beckwith. Now, one of the things that I get questions a lot about is I was taught that we had to have someone who could talk to God for us in the form of a priest or a pastor or someone else. And we don't teach that in our philosophy. We believe that you can have a direct relationship with God. Now, we don't believe in a person, so it's not like a he or a she. It's a divine intelligence. As such, we can have a direct relationship with it, meaning that we can talk to it and it can talk to us if we're open, if we're willing to be an open channel through which it can communicate, which is why we do this visioning process. Let me clarify something else, because there's a difference between visualization and visioning. In visualization, I have a goal in mind, and I focus all of my attention on that goal until it manifests. So visualization has been used for a very long time by athletes and successful business people and that kind of thing, because you focus on that goal and you project what you want to see in your world. You want to see the success of you doing X, whatever that is. Visioning is when I'm open and receptive to that power within me and the message that it has for me, right? If God is flowing through us, if God is working through us, if God is acting as us, then there isn't something that is going to counteract perhaps what our best quality of life would be. It is something that is going to add to that quality of life. It is running through us, and it is the urge within us to do something greater or to be something greater. It's not like you say, oh, I want to be a writer, and God says, no, you're going to be a hash waitress in Kansas. That's not going to happen. So the fear of just opening yourself as a channel through which God's message comes, you can do away with that, because that's not what's going to happen. God does not go against our higher and best needs, our highest and best needs, or our highest and best urges. You can count on that. God doesn't change up on us. God doesn't put us in a position and then drop us there. God will always provide what we need in order to manifest that vision. So let me talk a little bit about gift order, because I think it's really important before we do visioning for those of you who are new to this. However you get information is perfect. Visioning does not necessarily mean that you get a picture. Now, if you're kinesthetic, you're going to get a feeling. I'm very kinesthetic, so I usually get a feeling before I get anything else. I remember I used to, when I would go into like meetings at work or whatever, I used to feel stuff in the room, and I thought everybody hated me. And it might have been tension between two coworkers, or it might have been the boss being mad at somebody else. But I would feel it and I would internalize it because I'm such a feeler. It wasn't until much later when I was in the school ministry that I finally understood all of this, that my feeling of what's going on in the room has nothing to do with me. But I interpreted it that way. And so what's important is if you are a feeler, you're going to get a feeling of what God's vision is for you, not necessarily a picture. Now, audient, which is something I'm really low at. We have all four. All of us have all four. But one of them is our highest gift order, and one of them is our lowest gift order. In my case, audience is that. Faith and I went to Costa Rica for our other business, for Medical Ozone Beyond Borders. And Faith is very audient. So there she sat, just totally enraptured by what the speakers were saying, because it was so interesting for her. And I kept interrupting her. And she finally told me to go away. I did. Because I wouldn't keep my mouth shut. And because I hear it and it puts me to sleep. Or I might hear something and go, oh, well, that means da 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 da, which is why I can't really sit in a classroom and get lectured and then understand and retain the information, because they might present one message, and I'm off thinking about that message and 5 more have come through. Which is why when I was in the school ministry, a lot of times I would tape my classes and then transcribe them. So I had my feeling, my sight, and my audience involved in all of it. So that's my lowest gift order. But there's a lot of people out there that might hear a voice. They might hear a word. They might hear a sound that is going to be God's message to them. So if you're audient, more power to you. It just happens to not be my thing. The third gift order is intuitive. And that's just kind of knowing that you know without knowing how you know it. You don't get a sound, you don't get a picture, you don't get a feeling. You just happen to know this information out of the blue. Now, I used to think that was really high in my gift order before I took the test and figured out what gift order I had. But what was happening is I actually had sort of a photographic memory. And so I would sit in a doctor's office, read this article, and not even be aware that I was reading it, go off somewhere, and like 2 or 3 years later, somebody would say something, and I go, well, blah, 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 blah. And I think, where did I get that information? And I thought that was my intuition. And later I realized that I had read that somewhere in a journal in a doctor's office, you see. But that's what happens to people who are intuitive. There's just information there all of a sudden without any awareness of a sight, a sound, a feeling, or anything else. And so if you get your messages that way, awesome. And then visual, which is my second gift order, visual. And those are people who will actually get a picture. Now, when I say audient, I used to have ministers that would talk about the small, still voice within. And so as they were talking in these meditations, I would be listening for that still small voice. I really wanted to hear it. I thought maybe it would whisper if I listened really carefully. Not so. I never heard it. But other people would say, God said, and I heard the voice very clearly. So whether you get a picture or whether you get a feeling or whether you get a sound or whether you just seem to know the information, just be receptive to it, but also respect how you receive your information. Everybody receives information differently. And so it's really important that we don't judge it and go, well, that wasn't true because I didn't get a picture, or I'm not sure that's God's voice within me. What if it's blah, blah, blah? Just honor how you get that information. And we're going to ask 3 really important questions of that God within us. What is God's vision for my life in this quarter? Because we're going forward, September, October, November. Actually, it's October, November, December, I guess. I'm jumping the gun a little bit on the visioning, I guess. But what is God's vision for my life in this next quarter? And then what must I become in order to be the vessel through which God's vision manifests through me? So we cannot have that which we have not yet become. Okay. So what happens is, for instance, I cannot experience love if I am not love, right? I can't have that which I have not yet become. I remember in one of my classes, somebody was talking about how when you're in love, the world is in love with you. And when you're desperate for love, everybody just disappears. They want nothing to do with you. And in Vegas, we call that, like when you're gambling, that scared money runs. Because if you have this overwhelming feeling of, oh my God, I can't afford to lose this money, the cards are going to reflect that back to you by you losing. And so it's really important that we understand that in order to be an open vessel through which that vision manifests, we have to become a spiritual principle that reflects that vision. So you're going to ask yourself what you must become in order to be the vessel through which that vision manifests through me. And that's going to be a spiritual principle. That could be love. It could be abundance. It could be peace. It could be hope. It could be any number of words that reflect a spiritual feeling or a spiritual quality. Okay. And then we're going to ask, what must I release in order to become that? Because if I am hung up on the person who did me wrong, I'm not going to be able to attract to myself that perfect relationship. And I'm not going to be able to become love, you see, because I'm so focused on whatever that other person did that I can't get past that. And then I cannot become love. All right. So we're going to ask ourselves, what must I release in order to become that? It could be a person. It could be a place. It could be a thing. It could be a feeling. I must release fear. I must release anger, resentment, whatever. It could be a feeling. It could be releasing a person who's done something to us, whatever that is. And so you'll need to spray him. Sorry, buddy just got off his perch again. Lynn has to go run and grab him. Spray him really good. We spray him with a spray bottle to teach him that, no, that was not okay, what you just did. So when we get to it, I'm going to lead you into a brief meditation just to get us into the state of unconditional love from which we can ask those questions. Before I get started, I just want to say one more thing about visioning, because I really do believe that we have free will, and you can always say no to this vision that you're asking for. But please understand that there are ramifications for saying no. When I was between churches, minister without a church is a really awful thing. We have to have a project, and it cost me $25,000 to be without a church because I redid all the doors and windows and the flooring and the kitchen and the bathrooms, and I couldn't stop. And this guy came in and he took apart my bathroom. I'm a bath person. Yay, I'm glad you made it too. I'm a bath person, and I will take a shower. And I usually do take showers, but once a week. The rest of the time, I like to soak in the bath. I do my meditation and prayer work in the bathtub. I soak to just melt everything away, like before bed, for example. And so here this guy is. He's finished up everything else in my house. The last thing was to take my bathtub out so he could redo the floor and the plumbing. And he took my bathtub out and he said, I'll be back, in a couple of days. I've got this other project I got to work on, but I'll be back in a couple of days. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess I could take a shower because the other bathroom just has a shower. And so in the meantime, I was doing all this visioning, trying to figure out, I had listened to this tape from Alan Roth and Carolyn Mace, where they were talking about calling your spirit back. And in their version of that, you stood in a lake or a river or something, and you called all the pieces back from all the places you've left little pieces of yourself. For instance, whatever friendship, relationship, or whatever you have with someone else, when it ends, you leave a part of yourself behind. And so their philosophy was, you go and stand in this body of water. And it was based on a Native American tradition where you're calling your spirit back. You're calling all the pieces of yourself back. So I'm doing this visioning and I'm going, okay, God, how do I, what is your vision for me calling my spirit back? Open a church. No, I've already done that. Not going to do it again. This is now my third church that I've opened. I want you to know. So I was like, no, not going to do it. And we went through this process a lot for a long time. I think I was without my bathtub a total of 4 months. And the minute that I finally said yes, like 10 minutes later, the guy calls and says, I'll be there tomorrow to put your bathtub back together. So I want you to know that there are ramifications for not listening to that inner voice within you that is God speaking to you. None of them usually are as profound as that one was. I don't know what the case was for me that it had to be that profound before I could get the lesson, but apparently, you have to hit me with a spiritual 2x4 before I get the lesson, I guess. I don't know. But all of that being said, I'm going to lead you through a little meditation, and then we're going to ask those questions. And then at the very end, we're going to have you cement it by putting it in the comments so that it kind of is an NLP thing, where you're cementing it in. And so I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes and allow yourself to breathe according to what your body needs. Just take a really nice, deep, cleansing breath all the way from your toes. Breathe in through your nose, kind of hold it for a second, and breathe out through your mouth, kind of letting all of that air out. And then take another deep cleansing breath in through your nose. Fill up those lungs, hold it for a second, and release through your mouth. We're going to take one more deep cleansing breath and make it the deepest and biggest breath ever. All the way from your toes, in through the nose, hold it and breathe it out with a big rush through your mouth. Notice that this breath has relaxed your body, relaxed your soul, relaxed your mind. As we put aside any of the thoughts or any of the ideas or anything that needs to be done, we just kind of put that all to the side and allow ourselves to just be present in this moment. I'd like you to imagine right now a big ball of light, and it is in the center between all of us. It's pulsating and throbbing according to the Earth's heartbeat. This big ball of light in the center of us all. Watch as it fills up and condenses. Just feel that heartbeat of the earth. And then notice how your breath is keyed to that heartbeat. Notice how that pulsating, that throbbing of that light automatically soothes our spirit and centers us in a feeling of peace. This is the peace of God. the one power in the universe that is peace, the peace of God. And as you focus your attention now on that pulsating and that throbbing light, I would like you to imagine that it is beaming out from that center to each of us. Think of it as like the internet, for example, where the hub is that throbbing light, that pulsating light of God. And each spoke on that is attached to our very heart, our very soul, our very spirit. We are connected by it, through it, as it. And so I want you to imagine now that those beams of light, those spokes, are assimilated into that big, throbbing, pulsating ball of light until it encompasses all of us. There is no individual that is separate from this. It just is this big, throbbing, pulsating light that is the peace of God, that is the love of God, that is the life of God. And just imagine now that it expands into the state in which we live. You live, I live. Wherever you are. And it encompasses all of the businesses and the individual homes, everything. Until there is only one state, the state of God. Imagine that light expanding one more time to encompass the entire country, whatever country we are in. You are in, I am in. One power, one light, one being. And it expands one more time to include the universe. One power, one light, one life, one being. And so we offer kind of a healing balm to anyone in the universe that needs it. To any of the countries that are going through COVID things right now. To any place where there's war. And we each take whatever we need from that pulsating light. Take a moment to just breathe in whatever you need from this light. And then let's travel down through those beams back into this room, your room, being fully present in the moment, but taking with us that feeling of peace, that feeling of God's presence, that love, that unconditional love of God. As we ask ourselves this very important question. What is God's vision for my life in this upcoming quarter? What is God's vision for my life in this upcoming quarter? knowing that we only see through our human eyes a very small segment of what's possible. We allow God's vision to come through very clearly. What is God's vision for my life in this upcoming quarter? So whatever picture or sound or thought or idea you have received, place it in your spiritual pocket to be retrieved in a bit. And then ask yourself, what must I become in order to be that open channel through which God's message, God's vision is manifest through me? Knowing that we can't have that which we have not yet become, we ask, what must I become in order to manifest God's vision for my life into reality? What spiritual principle must I embody in order for that vision to manifest through me? What must I become in order to be the vessel through which God's vision manifests? And we take whatever thought, idea, feeling, sound, and place it in our spiritual pocket until the end of this. And we ask ourselves, what must I release in order to become that through which God's vision will manifest? Perhaps that's a fear. Perhaps it's a situation that we're holding on to. Perhaps it's a person. Perhaps it's even a part of us that we need to release. What must I release in order to become that through which God's vision manifests through me? What must I release? Now, placing that answer in our spiritual pocket as well, we ask one final question. What else do I need to know? Just let that answer come to you, kind of free form. Doesn't matter whether it's a picture, a sound, a thought, an idea. What else do I need to know? So right now, I just know that the power and presence of God here and now, ever present, is all there ever has been, all there ever will be, all there is right here, right now. That I am of that, as that. For that is who and what I am. My very essence, my very life, my very being. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through me as God in me. I know that truth to be so for all the members of God's team that I have the honor and privilege to manage, for Tina and for Oz and for Faith and for Lynn. For we are all one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of God. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that lives through us as one body, one power, one life, one love. And I know that same truth to be so for each person watching, whether that be in real time or later on, because we are all one. There's no place where one leaves off and the other begins. There is only the one power, the one presence, the one life, the one love. Mitakuye Oyasin, we are all one. And in this knowingness of this process, of this visioning process, I accept and receive in the name of everyone who participated today, all of the things that were presented to us, by us, through us, as God moves through us. I accept them and receive them in their names here and now. As I do for every name that is in the ministry of prayer this week. For I know that the spiritual truth of God's essence is the truth about any condition, any situation. And I pull back the veil and reveal that truth here and now as I claim it and accept it in their name as good and very good. And so my heart fills with gratitude to know that this is so. And so it is. Amen. Okay, real quickly, because we're running out of time. I went over again. I get so I want to tell you everything. So then I'm like, oh God, it's time. What is God's vision for your life? Go ahead and put that in the comment section. Just to cement it in, kind of like NLP. What is God's vision for your life? It can be a picture, a word, an idea, a thought, a sound. Go ahead and put that in the comment. And then the next thing is, what must I become in order to manifest that vision through me? What spiritual principle must I embody? And then the third one is, what must I release? And then any other information you got. I'm going to go ahead and do announcements. You can go ahead and put that in there, and I will affirm with you that that is so when I see it, because we are running out of time. And I hate to keep people too late. All right. So now is our opportunity to receive your gift, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express your gratitude for that which you have already received in the physical realm, or that which you have made manifest in the mind of God, but may not have seen on the physical plane yet. Please go to oasiscsl.org. About 2/3 of the way down the page is the offering affirmation we use to bless our offerings. Because we want everyone who touches the offering, the person who gives it, the person who receives it, the bank who receives it, all of that to be blessed. So we do say that. So about 2/3 down the page at oasiscsl.org. Whether you're watching in real time or you're watching later, please go to oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Excuse me. Hit that contribute now button. It used to say donate, but a donation is like a one-time thing. Okay, cool. I will acknowledge faith right now, strength, confidence, and grudges. Yes, I accept it and receive it in your name, sweetie. we have this wonderful ministry. Oh, so donations are like one-time things where you give away, belongings to Goodwill or whatever, or you donate, say, to some kind of political campaign or something like that. I think of those as donations. Contribute means I contribute to the vision of the organization and to the message of God getting out into the world. We are a global community, and it is good for us to be able to reach those people, and marketing does cost money. So just to let you know, that's what you're contributing to. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who will pray every day on the requests that we receive during this service. They'll pray every day for a week. We call them the God Squad. And so if you would like prayer for something this week, please type it in the comments section. If you don't want it to be public, you can always message one of us, and we'll make sure that it gets on the private facing group page for Facebook, which only the God Squad has access to. So put your prayer requests in. If you would like to participate in our God Squad, you don't necessarily have to be a licensed practitioner. You do have to be willing to do affirmative prayer and keep these commit to doing prayer once daily, at least once daily for the entire week. And then, of course, keeping all of the requests confidential. If you want to do that, type yes in the comments, and Faith will add you to our God Squad page. Again, the God Squad's the only one that has access to that. And if you would like to be part of our online community, type more, and she will add you to our public-facing group page for Facebook, which is where we post things first before we post them anywhere else. I know I promised last week I would get a schedule for classes that we have starting. I haven't quite gotten that done, so I will do that this week, I promise. So Oz is available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It's a time where it's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with him whatever situation you are in, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right there and know for you the spiritual truth until you can know it for yourself. So reach out to him by video chat. And I promise you I will get those up. It's going to be Thursday nights from 7 to 10 Mountain Time. I do know that. I don't know exactly what date we're going to start. It's going to be $30 per class until the 5th class, at which time you will need to pay the rest of it, which is like $150. So it's $300 for a 10-week class. We offer you that option of paying as you go, because I know things can be tight sometimes, and we don't want anybody to feel like they can't attend class because of the financial situation. So it's $30 a week. At week 5, we ask you to pay the balance, which is $150. So, or actually week 6, I think it is. Yeah, it would be week 6. And if you have already taken the class, you can audit it for $30 for the entire 10 weeks. It means you don't have to do homework. You can if you want to, but you won't receive any certification when you're done. All right. Bracelets and Mala Beans by Brooks and Bailey. All benefits the Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. You can reach out to her through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail. And then we have Faith talking about hers.
Yeah, definitely check out the Mystic Brew. Don't forget that we did add new products, so you get to make your own now as well. So definitely go through and order that, and make sure that you are following all of our social media at the Mystic Brew 303. We are doing a giveaway here soon, so definitely make sure that you're following so that you have a chance to win the awesome prize that will be coming out.
Okay, thank you. And then we have an adjunct to that. Angel Renee has these candles and intention candles and intention tea bags. You put the tea bag in the bath with you as you focus on your intention. And don't quote me, but I think they're $20 for the candles or $25 for the candles and $15 for the tea bags. I really need to get that up there so that I have that. I don't know why I can't seem to remember that. Angel Renee is on here, or was, so maybe she can comment real quick while we move on to the rest of the announcements. Okay, so then I also want to point out Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music. Oops, I need to get rid of that. she has gifted us with her music, and you will need to reach out to her by email to figure out how to pay her, because she's on the road traveling all the time doing her music. And for some reason, she can't update her website so that she can put Venmo or Cash App or PayPal or whatever on it. So you'll have to reach out to her by her email. Then we have Karen Drucker's music. Karen has gifted us with her entire collection, which is like 20 albums, 20 CDs. And actually she has more now. But you can buy it by the song. You can buy it by the CD. You can also buy a songbook. And some of the songs have American Sign Language, which is kind of cool. But anyway, her website, you can pay directly, and you don't have to get in touch with her. We love to support those who support us, so please check them out and buy some music from them. Also check out our website, oasiscsl.org. There you can find videos of our current sermons for the last year and a half, and audios of our sermons from years prior. You also can get information about our practitioners on our website and see what we're all about. But also know that on YouTube and SoundCloud, you can also get a hold of those videos and those audios. And S. Tucker is who you want to search for. But we have all of that information, and you can reach us through that. Okay, so this last song is from Karen Drucker, and it is a great meme. So get it stuck in your head and sing it loud and sing it proud.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And as I move forward into the week, I know that God's blessings roll out before me, the road being paved as I walk upon it. I know that God within me reaches for the delights that God around the world is manifesting in front of me and you and all of us. I enjoy this blessing and this unfoldment of God right before my very eyes, and I let it be so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're blessed to have you with us. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated, and be here next week at 10:30 Mountain Time, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Be here every week. We love you. Bye.
See you next week.
See you next week.